The invasion of the Vyk-Rul changed the very nature of fear. They didn't need to break down our doors. They didn't need to blast through our bunkers. They possessed molecular phasing, a technology that allowed their bodies to oscillate at a frequency that bypassed normal matter. To a Vyk-Rul Stalker, a 3-foot-thick reinforced steel door was nothing more than a light breeze. They walked through the walls of our hospitals, our command centers, and our homes. Our bullets passed through them like stones through a fog. We would fire entire clips at a single shadowy figure, only to watch it ripple like a reflection in a pond and keep walking toward us, its vibrating claws ready to cut through our armor as if it were paper. We were fighting ghosts, and the ghosts were winning. The fall of the Citadel, our most secure underground facility in the Rockies, was the turning point. Thousands of soldiers were found in rooms with no signs of entry. No breaches, no explosions. Just soldiers who had been hunted by enemies they couldn't touch. The Vyk-Rul viewed us as a 2D species living in a 3D world, primitive, solid, and utterly helpless. But humanity has a long history of making things stay still so we can kill them. We realized that the Vyk-Rul weren't actually ghosts. They were just fast. Their molecules were still there, just vibrating out of sync with our own. If we couldn't change our frequency, we would change theirs. We created the 13th Urban Breach Unit. The Solid Smokers. We don't use long-range snipers or fancy lasers. You can't snipe a ghost. Instead, we developed MagSmoke, a thick aerosolized cloud of microscopic hyperconductive iron filings and ionized gas. When we throw a MagSmoke grenade, the filings bond to anything vibrating at a non-standard frequency. It acts like a molecular anchor. The moment a phase stalker enters the smoke, the iron filings coat their translucent skin, creating a bridge between our reality and theirs. It forces their molecules to sync back up. It turns the ghost back into meat. And meat? Meat we can kill. I am Lieutenant Silas, Iron Lung Vane. My cinder gun is loaded with high-velocity tungsten buckshot. And I'm about to turn these shadows into statues. The mission was the defense of the Vault, the final fallback point for the surviving High Command in London. The Vyk-Rul had already bypassed the external perimeter. They were inside the walls, moving through the ventilation and the structural supports. Grenadiers primed the clouds. Don't let a single inch of air stay clean. I barked. My voice was a metallic growl through the internal comms of my heavy breacher suit. Smoker 2 Jax, smoke away. I've got multiple ripples in the north corridor. They're coming through the floors, Silas. Smoker 3 Sarah, thermal lock engaged. I see them. They look like glitches in the smoke. I pulled the pin on a MagSmoke canister and kicked it down the hallway. The canister hissed, releasing a violent, expanding cloud of orange-tinted dust. It filled the corridor in seconds, swirling and sticking to the cold steel walls. For a heartbeat there was silence. Then the ripple started. 3 figures began to emerge from the walls. In the clear air they would have been invisible, just a slight distortion of light. But in the MagSmoke they were monsters. The iron filings bonded to their vibrating limbs, outlining their four-armed, skeletal frames in a glowing orange crust. They looked like statues made of rust and static, flickering violently as their phase generators fought to stay intangible. They're solid. Open fire. I stepped into the cloud and leveled my cinder gun. The first stalker was 5 feet away, its vibrating claws mere inches from my visor. I pulled the trigger. Boom clack. The shotgun blast didn't pass through. It hit the stalker with the force of a freight train. Because the MagSmoke had anchored its molecules, the tungsten pellets found purchase. The alien's chest plate, now solid and brittle from the magnetic interference, shattered into 1,000 shards of black chitin and blue ichor. The creature was thrown backward, its phase generators sparking and failing completely as it hit the ground with a heavy, satisfying thud. One down. Keep the smoke thick. They're trying to bypass the cloud by jumping through the ceiling. Sarah yelled. I looked up. A stalker was halfway through the concrete ceiling, its upper torso protruding into our room like a grotesque trophy. It was trying to pull itself through, but the MagSmoke was already clinging to its head. It shrieked, a high-frequency electronic scream, as its brain became solid while its lower half was still intangible. Jax didn't give it a chance to finish the transition. He jammed his combat shovel, edged with a vibrating monomolecular wire, into the creature's neck. The blade didn't slide through, it bit deep. With a violent twist, Jax decapitated the beast. The head fell to the floor, solid and heavy, while the headless body, still phased, vanished back into the ceiling like smoke. They're learning. They're trying to bait us into the clear zones. Then we don't leave the clouds. I replied, sliding another shell into my cinder gun. We moved in a tight phalanx, our suits constantly venting mag smoke from the shoulder ports. We were a walking storm of orange dust. The Vyk-Rul were frustrated. Their greatest tactical advantage, the ability to be everywhere and nowhere, was being neutralized by a bunch of industrial soot. We reached the entrance to the reactor core. The Vyk-Rul phase lord was there. He was twice the size of the Stalkers, his body glowing with a brilliant, translucent violet light. He wasn't just phasing, he was phase-shifting, moving between states so fast that he looked like a blur of multiple entities. He lunged at me, his movements so fast they created a vacuum snap in the air. He bypassed my first shot, his body turning into a purple ghost a millisecond before the pellets hit. He reappeared behind me, his claws swiping at my spine guard. Scratch. The armor held, but the vibration of his claws sent a shockwave through my nervous system that made my vision white out. Silas. He's too fast for the grenades. Jax shouted, firing his own shotgun in a frantic circle. Sarah. The static flash. Now. Sarah didn't hesitate. She reached into her pack and pulled out a static nova charge, a massive one-shot device that would ionize every particle of mag smoke in the room simultaneously. Brace. She slammed the charge onto the floor. The room didn't explode with fire. It exploded with light and magnetism. Every microscopic filing of iron in the air was suddenly charged with 1,000,000,000 volts. The orange smoke turned into a blinding white lattice of electrical arcs. The phase lord shrieked as the entire room became a solid zone. His phase generator couldn't overcome the sheer volume of ionized particles. He was locked in our reality, his body turning into a heavy, obsidian black mass. He was no longer a ghost, he was a statue of flesh and bone. I didn't miss. I walked up to the frozen phase lord, pressed the barrel of the cinder gun against his primary brain case, and emptied the remaining 4 shells in rapid succession. Boom, 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 boom. The lord's head vanished in a spray of blue ichor and shattered bone. His massive body slumped forward, crashing onto the metal floor with a sound that echoed through the entire bunker. The silence that followed was heavy. The orange smoke began to settle, coating the ruins of the Vyk-Rul in a layer of rust-colored dust. The ripples in the air were gone. The ghosts had been exorcised. I stood over the fallen lord, my suit's cooling fans whining as they fought to bleed off the heat from the static flash. I looked at Sarah and Jax. They were battered, their armor covered in the blue blood of the Stalkers, but they were standing. Status, I panted, the air in my helmet tasting like ozone and sweat. Sarah here. Nova charge is spent, but I'm whole. The sector is quiet, Silas. Jax here. I think I've got a permanent ringing in my ears, but the ghosts are gone. We held the vault. I looked at the walls. They were just walls again. Solid, dependable, and silent. The Vyk-Rul had come to our world thinking they could walk through us. They thought our solidity was our weakness. They thought they could dance in the spaces between our atoms. But they forgot that humans are the masters of the solid world. We don't need to walk through walls to win a war. We just need to make sure our enemies are solid enough to bleed. Humanity has proven the ultimate truth of the Iron Siege. You can phase, you can shift, and you can hide in the light. But we will find a way to grab you. We will find a way to anchor you. And once you're solid, you're just another target. The Lord is dead. The vault is secure. London stands. The mission is over. Now, someone get me a vacuum cleaner. I'm tired of breathing this smoke.